Hello and welcome to That BS Show, Ep.3, Season 2. We're moving right along. It's already 10th of February. Good grief. It's
I
going to be
know.
spring. It's basically already spring. Was it you that shared that meme that said it's February, but it's a short month, so it's already basically spring?
Yeah, it's like so it's basically March, which means it's
It's
already spring.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
girl math.
Yeah. Yeah, I it feels very spring around here. My new website's almost done. I got some final edits to do, but everything's been transferred over to new host, and um, I am now paying someone to. I meet once a month.
What are you doing?
Don't burn yourself over there.
I know,
Oh,
Volti. Volti.
don't burn yourself, buddy. All we need is your puffball going up in flames.
Yeah, you just
Um,
see me freak out, run. I smother
yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah. So I now have someone that's like I don't know, like my own person that I does like once a month. I meet with them and see how my analytics are doing, and we go over SEO and all the bells and whistles. And so it's just nice to have that off my plate and a whole new website designed, and um, I'm really excited about that.
Nice.
It, I was having to do something with my email, Sedona Horse Medicine at Gmail, and I did something in my computer, and I erased my entire like history of all my YouTubes, everything. So everything on my
Oh
computer is like
no.
fresh.
Oh
So
shit.
I know, and part of me was pissed, and then I was like, no, just it's new, just just
Roll with
start
it.
new. It's fine. I didn't lose anything important, but like connecting with you tonight, I had to. Now I'm going through a different email. It doesn't matter. It's
I
ridiculous.
saw
Anyway,
that.
yeah. And so, but that's because I erased everything, and so it feels very new. Um, and I've spent so many years building my own social and all that stuff, and it's I've gotten to a place where just kind of exhausted with it. And already now that everything's new, I'm having inquiries and bookings, and so I'm really happy with that. It feels like a lot of pressures is off of that, and I'm having fun uh, with business again. And I
That's
suppose that's
good.
probably a curve in life, always. But um, there were a lot of times, and I know that we've talked about it in the last year, where I didn't quite know what was going on, but everything is moving again. How's your new job going?
It's good. It's exhausting. I am on my period, and I think it's the like full moon in Leo tomorrow, or new moon, full moon in
It is
Leo.
tomorrow or it's Wednesday. I can't remember.
I think it's tomorrow. I thought I read the 11th.
Is it the 11th?
That's
Okay.
what I read. Um, but yeah, it's good. It's just whenever it's like that time of the month, I just my back hurts and like bending, like everything just fucking hurts and feels out of whack. So I'm hoping that after this week passes, I'll feel normal and I can get back into it. But I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so dramatic when I'm on my
Well, that just
period.
makes you extra magic. You're in cycle with the moon. You're extra,
Mm.
extra in tune.
But yeah, like I've been going to. I mean, I have to go to bed early. I wake up every morning at 6:30 right now. Um, I'm just like, making my own lunch and not going out as much, which feels nice. Um, but I have been so tired. Like my friends wanted me to go out on Saturday night to some variety show, and I was literally just like, no, I can't. So, like, even though Saturday's my Friday, I'm like, I have to go to bed. I'm so tired. Like I can't even if I wanted to, I can't. Um, so I'm kind of looking forward to like spring and summer when I'll start early and then my day will end around 1 or 2 and I could get a nap in, you know what I mean? But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. All good things.
I'm excited for spring crops because like spring and summer, this is like when it really begins. So
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah.
really, I really enjoy watching the chickens and
My farm feed,
yeah, I do. I very much enjoy it. Yeah.
Farmstagram.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
video,
looking
like a little. I
forward
did a
to.
time lapse of me like planting onions, everything from like digging the little trenches to planting the onions and then pulling the drip tape and irrigation lines. And I just need to put it all together. I should have done that the last 2 days, but I was kind of
Wait,
lazy.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's great. And yeah, I love it when good things happen to my friends and
Yeah, let's see what
my
happened this week. So, what yesterday was the big bread and circuses event of the year.
yes,
The
yes,
Kendrick Lamar thing is funny. I do love that beef because I do hate Drake. Like, I just, he's such a fucking sleazy, scummy, like, ugh. No, I'm not gonna lie, I do like some Drake songs, but like, just that it's so comedic. Like, the way Kendrick was just like, say Drake, and like all those like memes of him, like, say, like with that smile, and he's just like, say Drake, I heard you like him young. Like, it's so funny. He just literally told like a million people that Drake was like a pedo, basically.
yeah.
So,
And I guess Drake was on stage either before or after, and he comes out on stage and he has a shirt with bullet holes in the front and the back and smoke
oh
coming out.
no, Drake was not there.
No, 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 at his own performance. And so I guess kind of saying, yeah, you can, take shots at me, but I'm still standing kind of thing. I don't know. I just saw it
Hmm.
roll through my Facebook and the stories. For all I know, it was fucking AI these days. There's a few things I've been caught on that I'm like, God damn it.
Me
Um,
too. Yeah, you have to be careful now, like especially the people.
yeah,
I always look at the hands. Also, if it's saying something that's too good to be true, it's probably true. You know what I mean? But then
yeah,
there's like all the Kanye West memes, like those were really funny. He like went cuckoo, but like I don't know, there's like a part of me that kind of used to like Kanye, but even all these people that are like um anti woke people that I follow that would consider themselves anarchists that are like yay stands, and I'm just like, I don't know, man, like for somebody who preaches a lot about morality and how the Jews are ruining culture with porn and they're demoralizing Western society, but then he comes out parading his wife like literally
that
butt
was
fucking
just,
naked with what is basically a pantyhose, like a
yeah,
see-through
yeah,
like pantyhose nylon
yeah,
stocking as a
yeah.
dress. Like that is just, it's so gross, it's degrading, it's
And he's got
disgusting. There's
daughters.
also a picture of a little kid, which first of all, I don't know why you would bring your children to these award shows. It's really stupid. But there was like that board with like the slogan, the red carpet picture where he's like standing with her, and then you look like there's like somebody that did a wide angle, and like right where the backdrop ends, there's a little kid that's like peeking over, looking at her, and it's like, why? Like, why would you
And
do
he's got
that?
kids. He's got daughters.
Yeah, he has daughters, and like his daughter is very like conservative, kind of like she hates Kim. She's always like making fun of like what's her name, Northwest. She's always making fun of Kim's outfits and like, oh mom, maybe you should put some more clothes on. You know what I mean? So it's just
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just so
And then
sleazy.
Beyonce winning the Country Music Award of the Year, and you see the numbers of how much they paid for people. I don't know. It's just, I guess maybe that ties in a little bit with even talking about, is it Kels or Kelsey? Travis
Kelsey,
Kelsey
Travis Kelsey. Hmm.
and Taylor Swift. There seems to be somewhat of a backlash against celebrity culture. Um, I don't know. I mean, if that's gonna last or whatever. But Candace Owens sure is going hard after um, Taylor Swift and Blake
Blake
Lively and
Lively.
Ryan Reynolds. Boy, I've never liked Ryan Reynolds. He always kind of creeps me out. I just think he's just a bitchy male, like a female. I don't see the attraction of him.
I
Um,
always thought he was cute. He is funny in certain movies, like Waiting. Like he's had his moments, you know what I mean? But I
I've
do
never
get
seen
this
that.
weird, like, ooh, like I don't know. There is something weird about him that just seems very phony.
Well, what
I
they
can't
did
quite
to
put my
this guy's
finger on it.
movie, and I mean, Candace
Well,
Owens is
you
really,
heard why they did it though, is because they actually did have an attraction to each other on
yeah,
screen. And
yeah,
like I guess, yeah, he just went fucking nuts kind of.
nuts.
Like and her to protect her, her relationship with her husband, she just like went along with everything, which again, you're a coward, but also like don't be an actress. I'm sorry. Don't be an actress on screen where there have been plenty of actors and actresses that have said no to like sex scenes and stuff because they are very serious about their current partnership and they're like, I just
Mhm.
can't do it. So it's like that's what makes a movie good is like, and how many people like Brad
Yeah.
Pitt and Angelina Jolie, they met on that Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and that's when he left Jen Aniston because they had such a fiery attraction. And it's like, don't,
Yeah.
sorry, but don't be.
You're opening yourself up to it. And then I just thought it was hilarious the one with the memes are good by the way. With Taylor Swift when she goes like this and then she makes that face and it's like that monkey
Oh yeah,
meme.
it's this one right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, like oh, that
They're just
couldn't
laughing
have
when he goes
been
forward.
more perfect. I mean, that was the creme de la creme of memes for sure. That one will carry on, I'm sure.
Yeah, that
Um,
one's funny. Yes,
so
I think
I
there's she's just not. I mean, I'm sure, like every celebrity, you're always going to have haters. Anybody who puts out art is going to have haters.
sure,
So it's like I'm sure
especially
she can receive her fair share of backlash, but she probably doesn't understand like why the tides have turned so much. It's probably like unexpected that way.
well,
Like,
I'd have to say that she has to have some understanding of how many people are have tuned into this Blake Lively. I mean, Candace Owens is getting, she's got over a
yeah,
million
but that's why she's
subscribers.
distanced herself from it. So like
Yeah,
it's really like, I mean, I haven't seen like Taylor Swift out and about with her like since before this happened. So that can't be the only reason
yeah,
why she's receiving backlash. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
been like speculated that she has been distancing herself. So I think it's just people are over the celebrities. They're over
Yep.
the holier
Celebrity
than
culture.
thou. They know everything when really these are the coastal elites. Sure, maybe these aren't the elites as far as making policy and the people in the New World Order and the World Economic Forum and the UN building and the fucking Davos group and the Bill Gates. And yeah, she's not one of those elites, but she is a coastal elite. And she is pulling sway for all these young middle class and lower middle class and poverty stricken people to vote her way, even
Yep.
though it benefits them absolutely fucking nothing and benefits
Yeah.
these coastal elites, these rich fucking have everything people. And it's like people are
Yeah.
sick of it. People are
Maybe
sick
just
of being judged by celebrities. People are sick of celebrities
all of
getting
it.
caught in little sound bites where they're like, people who voted for Trump are disgusting. And it's like that's a large portion of your fan base, most likely. And like, why do you want to alienate yourself? It's not a good business move either. And
Mm-mm.
and they stand up for it so much, not because of the social, it's because it benefits them financially to fucking have these
And
Democrats
say
stay
what
in
they're told.
policy. Yeah.
Yeah, and boy, I mean, speaking of exposure, I mean, this U.S. aid is just the deeper they go is
Oh man.
um so maybe that kind of has part of it is that the veil's been lifted, the spell's being broken for and whether or not they're digesting it, but I don't know how, I mean, I don't know how you could still have cognitive dissonance when this kind of exposure is happening. But it happens because I still have people on my Facebook feed that are still diehard. You know, it wouldn't matter, I don't think, what was exposed. I guess for certain people, they're gonna dig their heels in regardless. Feel the hate. They just
And they'll
it's
make excuses for everything.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I guess Department of Education is next. I've seen people flipping out over that.
Imagine that Trump and his cabinet and Elon are the first fascists in history to end government bureaucracies, to want a smaller government. Oh, they're
Yeah.
fascists. That's funny because fascism is corporations and governments coming together and
Mm-hmm.
weird little NGOs and government bureaucracy and federal government gone fucking mad. That is centralized government. So yeah, these are the first fascists in
Yeah.
history to want less government. So that's weird. That's weird.
Right. Yeah, that's I was gonna say something off something you said that just went out my brain. Um, but yeah, it's pretty fascinating to watch, and we talked about it before the election that there's a huge libertarian pipeline into this White House, and it stays true. I sent you a clip of Nicole Shanahan. She's making the rounds, and she's not holding back. She called it like she was saying to a few of them, look, you won because I gave you money, and I'll triple double. I'll do as much. I'll spend as much as it takes to get you out. You won't win again. And then she called Bernie. She basically said his legacy is just basically a piece of shit. He's
It's over.
over. And all of them. I mean, I didn't watch too much of the. Did they get confirmed? I don't.
Um, I'm
I
not
kind of
so
I haven't heard
sure.
anything.
It's hard for me to keep up, honestly, with work now. Like, I can't really look at my phone during work, and then when I get home, it's like I have all this stuff to do. So, like,
Yeah,
it's
that's a
hard for
good
me. I've
thing.
I've been trying to like look in my spare time, but there's just not that much spare time, you know.
Yeah,
So
no,
I do try
that's
to. I'm kind of staying updated by just going on YouTube and listening to like the different streamers that I follow, listening to their updates and their like little news stories and
yeah.
stuff.
I
Like,
just haven't heard anything. I have my normal feed, and well, it's changed a little bit. Um, so I haven't heard. Um, I watched Dave Smith the other day tonight actually, and he did nothing was said. So I guess probably the answer is no. They
I
haven't
like
been
how Elon
confirmed.
said that he's going to consider like Ron Paul to edit the Federal Reserve. And honestly, if Ron Paul lives long enough to see a Federal Reserve audit, like that would make me so freaking
I
happy
would
for
be that
him.
that would be the best gift that I think that anything for Ron Paul. Just what a win just to be able to know that you were around long enough and that you were the reason that this happened and that was your what an incredible.
Yeah, that he really put that idea in the mainstream, in the public eye. And it
Mm-hmm.
for years and years, it was like a little seed that he planted back in 2008 and watered it and watered it and watched it like, wither a little bit, but the roots stayed strong. And then, you keep watering it and it finally is like maybe come to fruition,
An
and it's
idea
like,
whose time has come. That was always something, back when we were really involved in that. And an idea whose time has come. God, I can't believe. I mean, yeah, that was 2006 and then 8. And to think about that here we are in this time is pretty amazing. And I guess because I'm not attached to it like a side or anything like that, that I'm seeing all the wins, and I'll take those. I think the Gaza thing is ridiculous, and that looks to be. I mean, I don't even.
I mean, honestly, I don't know what else to do with it. It sounds crazy, but it's like, who's going to rebuild it? Those people don't have the finances to rebuild it. So what? These people are just supposed to live in the rubble. I don't really like foreign interference, but foreign interference, we're not bombing them if we go in and clear the rubble and help build some new fucking buildings so then they can get back in there. I actually don't think that's the worst idea, because if we let Israel do it, then it is going to be an ethnic cleansing. That's really what I feel. I
Well,
really feel like Trump is stepping in and saying, no, we will help rebuild it, because he's being a bulwark between Israel. They want it. They want to go in and rebuild it. And Trump is
well,
saying,
don't you think that
no.
because of his connections with Israel, that this is a behind the scenes and that they are
No,
involved in it?
he fucking hates Bibi. He fucking hates Netanyahu.
Actually, was it that Ian Carroll that had his video that said, "Pay attention. It doesn't look like Netanyahu even knew that this was coming."
He
So
didn't.
there is some I think some teeth to that. And I guess it's the yeah, you're right. You have a very valid point there. I just feel like again the non-interventionism and sending
I
them
think the way
sending them
quote
to
says
Saudi
it,
Arabia.
all right, I think the way Trump says it, like, oh, Riviera of the Middle East or whatever, like that makes it sound so cheap. But like, really, I think Trump does like building things. He likes nice things.
Yeah.
He likes having a legacy. If he wants to go in there and clean up the fucking rubble and help some of the rebuild projects so that Israel isn't in charge of it, I think that's the best case scenario, because
Yeah.
otherwise it's going to be either Israel that's in charge of it or like Egypt or Lebanon, and then it's never going to get done. It's just going to keep getting bombed. And
Yeah.
this way, if the US is in there rebuilding, Israel can't drop bombs on them. They can't,
Yeah.
so it's like then they'll have no excuse. And
Yeah.
Trump even said he wants everybody to live there. He wants Palestinians to be able to go back and live there. You know what I mean? So I don't really know. It does, I think we definitely have to watch it, but at
Yeah.
this point, I don't know what any other options are, even for the Palestinians and the people in Gaza. Gaza
Yeah.
is not the West Bank. The West Bank, there is a very serious border with Palestine, and not one bomb has been dropped in the West Bank. You know what I mean? So it's like it's only on Gaza. And if Trump can go
Mhm.
in and reinvigorate it and make a bulwark between Israel, so Israel doesn't fucking do their like their little colonizing or whatever, where they go in and they take over the land and kick people
Mhm.
out. If otherwise, I don't know what else we're going to do. Otherwise, the Muslims are going to take over the Arabs, and they're not going to rebuild it. They're going to keep it as a fucking spot where they launch missiles at Israel and it never gets rebuilt. Or
Yeah.
Israel does it and then it's genetic cleansing, or the US helps reconstruct it.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we take it away from Israel, saying, no, like you can't go in and genetically and ethnically cleanse. Sorry, you can't,
Yeah.
you know?
And the infrastructure,
It's
you know,
fucked there. It is so
well, I was
fucked.
gonna, I mean, I've been to Egypt and I spent 3 weeks there, and it, it was just so depressing. And people would ask me like, what was it like? And well, the architecture and the history, I mean, that was fucking, it was Egypt. It was fucking insane. It
Right.
was incredible. But the people and the infrastructure there, it's non-existent. I mean, the garbage, there's like it's over 40 miles. I mean, this huge stretch of the Nile where people just dump their garbage in there. They're out there fishing in it. It's just in piles of fire,
Yeah,
where
well,
they're
they
burning
haven't been
stuff.
taught conservation, and they also
Uh,
don't have infrastructure to get rid of the trash.
well, but then there's parts of it where it's still very much like the rich people have certain things, like very wealthy, and then
Of
you,
course, but even this is the difference. Even the poorest parts of America, it doesn't matter if you roll through
that's right.
fucking Compton or fucking Chicago and the like the
That's right.
Chirac,
That's
they
right.
still have fucking garbage
That's
trucks
right.
that
Thank
come
you,
and pick
Rome.
up the waste.
Thank you, Rome.
So it's like
I mean, there's something to be said for what.
isn't that the point of America though? Is like even our lowest class, even people who are living in the projects in weekly motels, they have refrigerators, they have
Yeah,
air conditioners, they have heaters. Even the poorest amongst us in
it's
America,
true.
besides the homeless people, that's
Yeah,
different. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Have basic amenities and access
Mhm.
to heaters and ACs
It's
or
true.
swamp coolers or refrigerators, freezers. You know what I mean? So it's like
It's
that
true.
is the whole thing of like boosting quality of life. Sure, not everybody is rich, but even some of the poorest among us have more modern day amenities than kings had in the fucking
Yeah,
1600s. You know what I mean? So
it's true.
that's what we mean when we say lifting people out of poverty. And I
Hmm.
had a conversation with somebody that it's energy that does that. That's why it bothers me, all this green energy bullshit. And it's like, no, I'm sorry, literally pay Africa. We pay parts of Africa to not get coal power plants because then the waste would be. So we literally pay the governments to keep their people impoverished.
Hmm.
The number one thing that lifts people out of poverty, I'm sorry, it's not capitalism, it's not free market, it's not communism, it's not socialism. These are not the number one things that lift people out of poverty and give them a quality of life. It's fucking energy production and access to energy. That is literally the number one thing that gives people a comfortable life, So it's like all
So
this,
they
oh,
couldn't let Tesla survive.
yeah,
Couldn't,
no,
and I suppose nothing's free because you would still pay people to work in plants, and you'd have to have
clean
those
facilities,
resources.
yeah.
But it doesn't have to be the way that it is. There is a ways that everybody could have affordable energy
Well,
and
and that's what this whole green movement is. I'm sorry, anybody who's buying into the Paris Climate Agreement and all. I'm sorry, it's fucking bullshit. It's to control you and it's to control me, and it's the rolling blackouts in California. And
yeah.
what is the number one cause of elderly people? It is no access to heat in the fucking wintertime and no access to cooling in the summertime. It is those dramatic ends that literally cause deaths of elderly and invalid people. You know what I mean? So it's like this whole green movement, no, it's to limit access. This
Yeah.
is the way that they make us poor. This is the way they make us third world. This is what they are doing to parts of Africa and India. And places like this are not allowed to have energy, or there's not enough to go around for the peasant class, for the fucking commoners. And that's what they want. That's what this energy is, because you look
Yeah,
at
that's how it
lithium
was in
mines.
Egypt. I mean, you had it was it. and that's why when people like, oh, and this is, I'm talking from the spiritual community as I live here in Sedona, and it's always Egypt, and I get there's beautiful history, and there is a lot to be said for those archetypes and that energy. But when you're there physically, and it's like there are people stuck in time. They may have a smartphone, but you can't see what you don't have really free access to your internet. And then if you it's still like the kings and queens up here, and you can
Yeah,
literally
it's the haves and the have-nots. That's what
yeah,
they
there's
want.
a whole section in Egypt that's in Cairo that is literally walled off, and it's I can't remember how many square miles it is, but the people in it can't come out because they're so poor. It's like where they put all their lepers.
Yeah, that's
And then
basically what Gaza is. They can't come out.
yeah, same, it's the same sort of thing. And so it's such a oh, and then when I was in Jordan, Jordan's supposed to be kind of uh, we're told, or this what I feel like I've been told, Queen Noor, and it's supposed to be more westernized. But I'll tell you what, it's still the man that decides everything for the family, and it is way
Listen,
stricter.
it is actually neo-feudalism and feudalism, and what people don't understand is this is where the elite class is moving us, and this is why I feel so strongly about it, because I am one of the peasants. I am part of the peasant class
Mhm.
that will be affected by these laws and not able to afford cooling in the fucking summer with the smart meters and bullshit like that. Okay, this is why I talk about it, because feudalism is the most common form of government that has ever existed on planet Earth. It is actually the rule, not the exception to the rule. We are the exception to the rule. Feudalism has ruled societies since the dawn of fucking
Yep.
time, since the dawn of civilization. It has always been this way, and this is where they want us to be again. And that's what all this green movement bullshit is about. What happens to the solar panels? They're not recycled. What happens to the wind turbines? They're not recycled. How much land mass and habitat is fucking needed to have wind farms and to have solar farms? Mass amounts of land. What is the number one cause of extinction in animals? Habitat loss. So tell me how this is green, taking up massive amounts of fucking habitat and land mass. Also, to run all these green energy, the amount of copper that would be needed for all of the wires to power every single home in America and across the world does not exist on planet Earth. We're talking you'd have to start deep sea mining and blowing out chunks of the fucking ocean just to get enough copper. Okay. So it's like these are a lithium mine sticks around for 500 years, a big ass oil spill, BP that happened in the Gulf of America. That oil spill that happened back in the day, that took about 20 to 30 years to dissipate after cleanup efforts and just the natural
Mhm.
recycling process back into the earth. About 30 years, which is a long time, but 30
Mhm.
years compared to 3 to 500 years of a lithium mine is literally nothing. It's fucking nothing compared to that. So everyone acts like there's some magical solution, and there's fucking not. There are only give and takes. There are only there's no such thing as free and unharmed. Everything has repercussions, and
Mhm.
everything has there's no such thing as a perfect system, and you can just look at nature and the way nature functions to realize that. And the more these fucking psychos try to tell us that there is some ultimate solution, right, the perfect
Mhm.
solution, they're
Mhm.
lying to you, and they want you to fucking die. That is what that is all about. That's what it has always been about.
Yep.
They want to keep the coal power plants for themselves. They want to keep the oil for
They
themselves.
want to keep the food. They want to keep all the good shit for themselves, and
Yeah.
yeah,
And they
and not.
want us
I
to
mean, we
have
can
nothing.
even.
And then and they still want to rape and pillage the earth. They're not doing this. And by the way, this is a whole the reason why we're doing this is because it's a whole new infrastructure that needs to be laid. That means there is so much money to be made off of this. In every concept of a new infrastructure to lay this infrastructure, that's why they're doing it. There's no more money to be made off of the old structure because it's already there.
Mhm.
Sure, there's maintenance, but there's no booms to be made. Yeah,
Mhm.
sure, the oil companies make money, and if you're an oil guy, that's great, but there's no new fucking money to be made off of this. That's what this whole push is about. And like, it really fucking bothers me. All my friends, oh, Trump's begging out of the climate. Shut the fuck up. You don't even know what you're talking about. This is a red herring and they want to enslave you. Okay. Like, I am so glad he's pulling out of the fucking Paris
Yeah.
Climate Agreement because it's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit for the elites to fucking control us. I've had friends that have bought electric vehicles that already turned those motherfuckers in because they were like, this is bullshit. I can't drive to California. Once I'm in California, I can't drive from Laguna Beach to fucking LA without getting stopped for an hour to plug my Tesla in around, and that's a line of 30 people to plug their fucking Tesla in, you know? And then by the time they get to LA, they have to fucking charge it again.
Yeah.
Like, it is a ruse. They want to control your movements. Like, why don't people get it? It's so frustrating to
It
me.
is. And I mean, how many times do we have to use the word cognitive dissonance? How many times? I mean, maybe the veil's being ripped off in ways right now. We kind of talked about this before we started the show that with U.S. aid and with these, oh, that's something I wanted to say too, is that they're all, I've seen people on different news sources freaking out over the fact that he's got these young engineers. I guess they've named it big balls. That's
And
hilarious.
big balls and something else.
But what about when y'all were falling for Greta Thunberg and she was like 10? Like, come on. How quickly.
Which, by the way, that is a propaganda method. They've always used little Dutch children, especially little Dutch girls with pigtails, as a propaganda mechanism in their posters and advertising. And that shit goes back to the early 1900s. Okay, like, the whole thing was a fucking scam. And here she is, oh, blocking highways and throwing paint on fine art that can never be replicated again. You know what I mean? Like, and you look at art nowadays, it's so ugly and disgusting. And like, now they want to ruin beautiful fine art pieces, one of a kind, from painters that have been dead for fucking 500 years. You know, oh, I'm helping. Sure. Okay. Like,
God, mind control is such an interesting fucking thing. We've
oh
talked about it
man.
many times that it's not on a military base anymore in an underground bunker. It's on your TV, it's in your phone, and if you don't, if you maybe this is the neurodivergent me, like because I'll say things like, I just can't believe that people can't see this, and it's like because I literally just see the world so differently and I process information. So I'm such a logical, literal in some ways, and connecting dots just isn't. I can do it. And so when there's so many people that I see just can't connect dots, or that, because even now there's just so much information out. I can't believe that I have friends that are still so on the left that they still can't see it. They just can't see it. And everything that you just said seems so logical. It's fact based, and you can kind of step away from it and see the bigger picture. And I guess maybe that's I mean just why it continues to happen, and why it's like, and I want to believe that, and I do believe that things are changing. I do believe that this is all but it's the year of the snake. I think that we haven't even started. I think we're going to see some things that are beyond anything that we could even imagine right now. Like, back when I had my radio show in, 2006, talking about Ron Paul and then joining up in all that. So the writing's been on the wall for a long time, but nobody had a crystal ball that was predicting COVID. So it's the same thing kind of now. It's like it has a 2020 vibe to it, but it's going to be. I did the best I ever have financially in 2020. My business, and do I wish that there was no trauma and I would be out of, oh, I would, nice one in my shirt, that I would be I would be out of the trauma business. Yeah, I wish, sure, I wish there wasn't, but there's plenty of trauma to go around. And if there's anything that everybody's got some. So even people that think that they haven't had trauma, it's become very obvious that self-reflection, introspection, and, um, you know,
Oh, none of us get out
your health
unscathed,
is
you know?
your health is up to you. And if you're going to be at the, because we've talked about before, like I know that things are expensive and they're getting more expensive, but it's kind of like you better figure out a way to buy the better food, and you better figure out a way because that's going to be your water, really good water and clean food.
Yeah,
It,
you have to prioritize, you know, if that means you have to give up elsewhere, then that's what you have to do, you
and I
know.
know that you have kids, it's expensive. I get that, but I'll tell you what, quinoa and beans you can buy them organic and they are affordable and you
It
can
will
make.
always be cheaper to buy straight up bags of rice and oats and quinoa and lentils and
Mhm,
cans of beans and straight up ground beef or
mhm,
skirt steak or chicken breast or pork chops. It will always be cheaper if you have a family to eat that way than it
mhm.
will be to go out and then buy junk food. And yes, it takes more
Absolutely.
time, but
And
it is
convenience.
cheaper. It's convenience. It's there. You know, you can make it stretch like that's
So we're saying this, and it's maybe it's I just have a strong will to survive, and that there are people that just wouldn't even, just it's I get like idiocracy. It's just easier to put on the TV and order McDonald's and just not even have it register. It's just humans are so fascinating. They really are. They're so messy and fascinating and awful and wonderful. They're just it's such a spectrum. Um, One thing that I will say, since I've kind of been getting out of the house a little bit more, is I have I definitely realized what a bubble I was in for quite some time, um, and I'm grateful for my bubble. I'm not gonna lie, but just seeing the world and being around people on a somewhat every couple days a week, that it's such a spectrum. I hope I'm more compassionate and less um, judgmental regarding these issues, because I do understand on some level, but then again, I don't, because I have such a strong will to survive and think for myself, and no matter what, I always know that I'll figure it out and I'll be okay. And maybe it's 'cause, although I may not have kids, but I certainly have four horses and they're as expensive as fucking kids. So I mean, I have to make it work. There isn't I've taken on my horses for a life, and I'm their
You're the
shepherd
caretaker.
person,
Yeah.
and like I just went and my older horses are on their feed is different than my younger horses, and then my dogs are getting older, so now they're taking a mushroom blend and they're on one of the supplements that, because I can take it, the horses can take it, and the dogs can take it, and it's excellent. So it's so my food bill is I don't even want to say it out loud how many it's we're talking over
Oh,
two
it's very expensive to feed livestock. If
yeah,
anybody doesn't
it's
know,
over
that
two
shit is
thousand
not
dollars a
cheap.
month to take care of my horses and my dogs
Yeah.
and myself, so my food bill's extremely high, but will do whatever it takes to make that happen. There's just not an alternative. And for me, water has been the huge thing, becoming a total water snob. That's a non-negotiable at this point.
A long time ago, when I first got introduced to Sedona, I was dating a man named John, and he used to go, and there was this little spot up on the hill, you know, like the scenic route that was like a spring that you could go and fill up your
Yeah,
water.
heading up to Flagstaff. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
go to the
Yeah.
I go to the water store and I get structured water with shungite and then add minerals to it. And I've just come to realize, since I really addressed sugar and alcohol and stopped those things, that what a difference having a clean diet makes in every aspect of my life, mental
I
health,
can
and
say even just having a clean diet, even if you are still drinking sometimes, is still better than drinking alcohol and fucking doing all the fast food and going out all the time
Sure.
and all that. You know what I mean? So it's like
Anywhere
I
that you
I'm
can make.
I'm like a balance person. I think if you can find a balance, that's great. But like that's the problem with everything is eventually it usually gets chaotic and your shit falls out of balance, and it's like
Well,
that's when
for
things
me, it
really
just,
start to have to go
hitting,
wrong.
going through menopause and hitting, and then and really addressing my ADHD was because if you came to town, I'd have a bottle of wine with you. First
Yeah.
off, there's not much to do in Sedona. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
there's no bars to go.
you
I'm
have to
not
look at
tempted
look at the
by.
sky. That's about
But
it.
for me, it became a matter of inflammation and just age. It wasn't even, it was just, and then really understanding how sugar has, truly, it just boils down to sugar, and that's just inflammation and terrible for your body. So Pete Pablo, 1999 says, "Hey, I work at a barn." Right on.
Nice.
Yeah, you got two farm girls here.
Oh, did he say a barn or a bar?
No, barn. He said, "Hey, I work at a
Oh,
barn."
he said a bar.
Yeah, but there's, I mean, there's just, but if you came into town, I'd enjoy a bottle of wine. My
Yeah,
guest, my Airbnb guest right now, she gifted me a bottle of rosé, but it was CBD, non-alcoholic CBD. Girl, I had a
interesting.
couple glasses of that. Talk about just chill
You
and,
feel relaxed?
oh my God, I was like, are you kidding me? I didn't even know they made this kind of thing.
I didn't know that
It
either. That's
was
cool.
it was so good.
That's
It
awesome.
was really, really, now you can taste, it's got a CBD kind of almost weed kind of,
Yeah, yeah, it's like that
there is that
herby.
taste.
Yeah.
But it, looked like a rosé, came in a nice bottle, and of course a fun label, which is always how if I was going to pick wine, it's always by that. Um, and I really enjoyed it. I was like, okay, I think I might want to have a few bottles of this at the house if a friend came over. This is what I definitely can see myself enjoying a glass of this every so often. Because it was nice just to sip on a glass of wine. I haven't done that for a couple years. But yeah, if you came into town, you should come into town next chance you get. Um,
Yeah, I would like to. Maybe this springtime or something, or like April, something like that. I'd like to
yeah,
take a couple days. I'm excited just for all the summer fruit, like the tomatoes and the cucumbers and the peppers. Like that's what season it's about to be. And I
you're
guess
going to
we're gonna
be
grow
eating
corn.
so good.
I am. Like I already am. I get to take home eggs and I brought some broccoli and butternut squash and
Nice.
but I'm excited for the spring and summer veggies because those are the best. And
Yeah, our farmers market will start getting better here too.
I
I
want to
used to
see if
have
I can.
chickens.
I want to see if
Did
I
I
can
have
have a
chickens when you
little.
came to my old house?
You did, yeah. There was a little coop that you guys had built.
Yeah, yeah. We found that
Um,
on
I
so
mean,
we
it honestly is different when you have a couple chickens because you can be personal with them. But when you have like hundreds, it's just like, like,
well, and then I would let them out, and then the coyotes picked them off, and they shit all over my porch, and so they became, and then when we moved, I just gifted it, and a little girl came and got it, and I had my one chicken Gertie left. She's the one that survived. She was my little totem chicken.
oh,
And um, the little girl had little shoes that when she walked, her little shoes lit
light
up and
up.
sparkled and stuff. And she was holding Gertie. And so I was like,
Aw.
so I was very happy because we were gifted. It was a nice chicken coop. We were gifted it. So I gifted it forward. And so that was nice. But as far as having chickens again, if I can, because I get my eggs at the water store and they're wonderful. Um, but I'm looking forward to our farmers market because I don't mind, I would love to support people that are good at doing that. It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
my
chickens
forte.
are a whole thing. I mean, it's icky, I'm not gonna lie. Like, and I don't know where people think eggs come from, but they literally come out of the same hole where they shit
Yeah,
from. Like
yeah,
that's
they have
where
shit
they
on them.
come from. Yeah, like
Yeah,
we have
and
to
they're like
and
little dinosaurs. They'll
I
eat
try to
each
oh,
other.
they are. They will
They'll
kill
eat
each
each
other.
other.
And it's sad, like when you have hundreds of them like we do, and we should be getting our 1500 soon. We had to build a big brooder because they need to stay warm when they're chicks. But there is a pecking order. That's why it's called that. And like it's always sad the chickens low on the pecking order because they have no fucking feathers because like they'll pull them out. Like they don't pull them out themselves. The other chickens will pull them out. And like
Yeah.
you always
Well,
see the
when
ones
the
like just let
javelina
me
got
them. And
in,
I'm like,
yeah, when the javelina got into our coop, Gertie's the one that she got a scratch mark. And I was like, okay, it's just we got we got rid of the javelinas, we solved the problem. And
Mhm.
I just said, okay, here, I'll put you back in here, just rest. And I went out and checked on her, and they were fucking eating her.
Mhm.
So I moved
Yeah,
her
you
into
can't
my
have them where there's blood. If they see blood, they'll
they'll
eat.
eat each
That's
other.
just
So I had to move Gertie. She stayed in my downstairs shower for like 2 months while she grew back her skin. And I put
yeah.
her back out there, and they were so mean to her. She never, and so then this is when I had Gertie had her own little space. So I let her stay in there, and I let the other chickens out during the day. They were the red ones, they're super mean. And
Yeah, they are mean. They're
and
like
the
little
coyotes,
robots. I call them robot chickens because they are like
yeah, they're very
robots.
mean. They the coyote picked them off one by one before too long. It was
Yeah,
just
you will.
Gertie.
You can't leave chickens out of a coop. They'll die.
No.
Um, and if it's not a coyote, it'll be an owl or hawk, you know. So we have them definitely in a coop. They have a big area, but we don't let them like roam the farm or anything. And there's even like an electric line because there's coyotes can jump very high. Coyotes can jump 6, 7 feet sometimes,
Mhm.
and there's mountain lions. There's actually I wish I would have taken a picture of it. There was a paw print in the mud, and Amanda told me that there's a mountain lion and her cub that like comes through and like roams at night. And I don't think for the chickens, because you would be able to tell. I think they more hunt like rabbits and the gophers and the little critters that like to come and eat all the greens that we're growing, you know? So
Mhm.
there's lots of prey for them
Well, I guess
outside of the chickens.
my
And the
neighbor had,
crows, oh my God, the crows come and like as soon as I see them, I know I have to go collect the eggs because they will go into the fucking chicken coop. And we have one rooster and he doesn't do anything. He's such a little bitch, which is weird. Usually roosters are very mean and aggressive. These crows come and they just like will start like eating the eggs in the lay boxes, you know, and I'm like, you bastards. Like I have to like run in there and go get all the eggs because I'm like, oh,
my neighbor has
jerks.
a cam and like a nighttime night vision cam, and I guess they did have a mountain lion on it. And I know that here, I mean, they tend to drag their prey, and so
Oh, unless it's a small one. Unless it's a small prey, then they, you know.
well, I mean, that's why I don't worry about the horses so much, is what I was going to say, because
Yeah,
there's no, but
no.
still,
Not even full deer, you know, that's probably why maybe a very weak or sick deer or the
mhm.
babies like a fawn or something or a very small bighorn sheep or something like that, you know, but big livestock like yeah.
We have so many coyotes and rabbits and stuff here that, I'm not too concerned about that, but it did kind of, it kind of shook me. They're no joke. They're huge.
Yeah, they're big. They're scary, you know.
And the other
And they
morning,
are
the
wild
horses,
animals. So
the other morning, the horses were all on point, and I looked, and it was big, and I was like, "Fuck, what is that?" I thought it might be. I just got kind of a glimpse because I was so far away,
like a
and then when I got
shadow.
closer, it was a couple of deer. I was like, "Oh, okay,"
Okay.
But little tune, um, I got to keep my eye on that nugget. You know what she did today? I guess we're kind of on an animal subject tonight, but I was feeding horses, and I hear her barking at the end, out my driveway down towards the main road. And she's barking, and she wouldn't let the UPS truck turn down our street. She was in the middle of the road just
She's
barking.
backing him up. She said, "You
Yeah.
better get
So
out
I
of
go
here."
running out there. I'm like, she's just standing there. And then she turns around and looks at me like she knows she's in trouble. And she starts running home. I was like,
You're
and
right.
the
She's like, "Hmm."
UPS guy was, I mean, he always thinks
Laugh.
they're crazy.
I would have laughed. That would have been
Yeah, he was
hilarious.
laughing because he
Because
gives her
she's so
cookies.
little too. She's a little puggle, so beagle pug mix. She has this little underbite and like her little attitude. She's like such a little tough girl, you know.
She
Like
is just, no fear, just sitting in front of, like barking at the truck. I'm like, get your ass home. Turns around, runs home. And then he just waves and he's like, she's just letting me know she runs this place. I'm like, yeah, I know.
there's
That's not good.
this YouTube and Instagram channel I'm obsessed with. It's called Raven Tree Ranch. And she has goats and I think some alpaca and chickens, and she has a few steers. And she has three livestock guardian dogs. They're Anatolian shepherds, and she has all these trail cams like around her property And these Anatolian Shepherds, they do such a good job. And there's three of them, and they work independently. And like, I like know all of their names. It's Lily, Bo, and Judge. And Judge is like absolutely the best. I love him. And like the music that she puts on it is so dramatic, but like she shows them the way like they that she leaves them unneutered and unspayed because they need to mark territory and hold territory around their property, and the way they work as a team. They do have fences and stuff, and they've actually never lost an animal ever because these dogs do such a good job. Anatolian Shepherds, these dogs, these breeds are like 1,000 years old or
Yeah,
more, so they have a
yeah,
lot of just genetic
yeah,
encoding. And she
yeah.
shows from like Judge was the youngest, but he's the biggest. But she shows him when he was a puppy, and like the way the other dogs kind of trained him, like they were kind of mean to him a little bit, but it really left him alone with like the sheep and the goats and stuff, and it made him like bond with his charges, because
Mhm,
they felt like left out by the other dogs. And it's
mhm.
just, I'm obsessed with that channel. Like I will watch every little like short reel that comes out because they're so good and they're so like
Now I'm
dramatic. And like
interested. What's it
she
called?
called Raven Tree Ranch, and she'll be like, the Avengers assemble, and there's a cat that she calls Recon Cat because you can like barely see her, but like she's like, oh yeah, she's the manager. She collects information for them, and like it's really cute. They're like a little team. It's really funny and adorable. So
I
I'm
love it.
obsessed with that channel.
I love it. I love
Props
it.
to
And
Raven Tree Ranch.
I love working, Annie's a working dog, and to watch her, I mean, every morning, she's always on perimeter check. And when we're out on the trail, she's always forward, and then she never lets us really get too out of each other's sight. She's an incredible working dog, and there's
She
something.
has they have those Anatolian Shepherds, which are a livestock guardian, and then she also has her dogs that and they're champions. She like puts them in like tournaments for herding cattle and
Mhm,
stuff like that.
mhm.
And they're different. The Anatolian Shepherds, like there's one called PD, and they call him like one of the Avengers or whatever, even though he's not a guardian dog, but he'll come like running if they're all barking. But you'll she'll show videos of them putting him in check, like if they come, if the border collies come too close to the new baby goats, like Judge will literally like pin him down and be like, no, like get away from the babies. So it's
Yeah,
like they
those
have their different jobs.
yeah, though they do, and though I've seen some videos of those big shepherd guardian dogs, and you're
Oh
right,
yeah, or like the Great Pyrenees.
they go back so many thousand. It's so instinctual to them. I mean, Annie, what she does out on the trail is her instincts are just so on point. And when she was a little younger, she could navigate cactus like she just navigated the trails in such an amazing way. And now, that's all she does really is perimeter checks. And all the time, she's always looking out for tune and making sure that, well, maybe not so much today. She let her go down to the end of the road, but um,
Every
she
once in
was
a while, I'm
slacking
sure
on
a tuna
she,
slips by.
yeah, she was slacking on her duties a little bit today. Um, and I have noticed, I mean, she's 11 now, and I have noticed a little bit of a slowdown. And on
Course.
property, not so much, but out on the trail, she's definitely, um, she doesn't go as hard, and like, because when she was younger, she would just explore everywhere. I mean, she's everywhere.
Back and
And
there and back, and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and now she stays more on the trail with me. But so that's been an interesting kind of change with her. Kind of, I put him. I don't know if I put him on a mushroom blend. I don't
Oh
know if
yeah,
I said
you're
this while
saying
we were on
that.
air, but
Yeah.
she had a couple of those lymphoma, and
Oh
they're
yeah, yeah.
non-cancerous.
Yeah,
But
they're
I'll
those
tell you
lumps
what,
though.
if
They're
you
like
start to,
cysts.
and anybody watching this, if your dog starts to get them, I put them on this mushroom blend, and they are shrinking. And the main ingredient, there's some just have turkey tail in them. Well, I had 2 bags from when my mare had cancer. I had her on a whole
I
blend of
remember.
things, and I have a bunch of this turkey tail left over, and so I'm just giving it to them that way. Because the other stuff was, well, it was expensive, but this stuff I just have, and
Hmm.
they are going away. So if anybody's wondering, if you're seeing, you check out those lumps or whatever, and they're saying, and castor oil, putting castor
Castor
oil.
oil packs. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and they work. So I was a little skeptical, but they are working, and so that's, yeah. Their health
Well,
is,
guys, that was our dog talk of the evening. Hope
yeah,
you enjoyed it.
yeah,
We love animals. If you can't tell, we're animal
yeah.
lovers.
We
Farm
are.
girl animal lovers.
Mhm. Well,
um,
Mother Nature's our jam. I mean, we're nature girls.
yeah, we
Natural
like
law.
to be in tune. I think I said it to you. It's like the United States is having its Pluto return, and it said
Uh,
like the second U.S. revolution or whatever
mhm.
is kind of like imminent, and it kind of does feel like it. It does
Yeah,
feel like there's a huge shakeup at least, and the left is, screaming, oh, these people are unelected. And it's like, so is Fauci. So are all of these government bureaucracies. These are all unelected officials and
mhm.
unelected agencies that are literally doing the bidding of the government parties. You know what I mean? And it's time for an end. It's time for a shakeup. And I'm sorry if it's not the way that the left wanted, but the left has even turned on things that they have traditionally been for, like against big pharma. Now they love big pharma. Against industrial
War.
agriculture. Now they love industrial agriculture. Anti war. Now they love war. They love war except for Palestine and Israel, but all other war. They like the Ukraine war. They like all the other fucking
Hmm.
wars, right?
Yeah,
And then industrial agriculture, chemicals in our food. That used to be huge points on the left. That was
yeah,
part of the left that I agreed with, was
yeah,
like the hippie left who
yeah.
wanted natural food and raw milk and chemicals out of their
Yeah.
food.
Classical
And
liberalism.
yeah, but that's not anymore. Now you're considered right wing if you want any of those things. So again, we talked a
Yeah,
little bit about the Overton window last week, and it's the
yeah.
same thing. There's just been this Overton window shift, and it's like, I just don't get it. I just don't get. They're like, no, we want red dye number 40 in our food. Like it's like, oh, this is the hill you want to fucking die on. Like that's
I was
that's weird.
embarrassed. I was embarrassed for pretty much everybody that was involved in the RFK Junior panel. I was just I just couldn't believe some of the things that like you see how clearly bought and paid for they are, and I was flabbergasted. Um,
Yeah, it was cringeworthy.
maybe that's a better. It was just I felt uncomfortable for these
Yeah, it's
people.
like
It was
it's like a
gross.
secondhand. It's like a secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah,
Like
it was
you feel
like ugh,
humiliated and mortified, even though it's like their humiliation and shame.
yeah.
But somehow it's like, ugh, like
I
because you have to
felt it.
watch it.
And Bernie, his face turned as bright red. I thought his head was just gonna pop off his body. You could feel like I was just like, ooh, is that what that many lies?
Well,
Oh,
that
the
was that whole
tangle
thing. I
web we
can't
weave.
remember who noticed it and pointed it out, but it was like he used to say the millionaires and the billionaires, and then when he sold his book and he became a millionaire, he stopped saying the millionaires and billionaires,
How
and he
many
just
sports
started saying,
cars?
and then he just started saying the billionaires once he became a millionaire, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
what's the
And
matter?
his wife ran a college, and there was some sort of a scandal there with like $9 million here, and he paid his kid like
I don't know.
$1 million.
All I
And
know is
it's like,
after he wrote that book, after his little like that first bid for presidency that the Democrats sold him out for Hillary for, who lost, by the way. I really think Bernie might have had a chance of winning that year, but they said the establishment said no. You can't have somebody that you want. You can't have somebody that might actually stand up to the Democrat
he
Party.
came back with a black eye after the
Yeah,
break. Remember that?
yeah, yeah. I know I
And
don't, but I
and
mean
he
it doesn't
endorsed
surprise
Hillary,
me.
which just made him a bitch to me because when Ron
Yeah.
Paul didn't win, he didn't
But yeah,
endorse
then
the
after that,
Republican
he became a
candidate.
millionaire, and then he stopped saying the millionaires and the billionaires because now he's part of the millionaire class. So now he can't criticize them. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, if he really stood on his beliefs of that no man should have that much money, and even if it's $1 million, why don't fuck, charity starts at home, homie? Why don't you lead by example?
Right?
If you think no human should have that much money, then show us and give half of your fucking money away. You know
She
what I
was
mean? Like,
gross. This gross. And what's her name? The well, she played like she was an Indian. What the fuck is her name?
oh, Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas.
Yeah, Pocahontas.
Pocahontas.
There was some good memes floating around with her. I've gotten some good
Yeah, there's
chuckles off those lies. Oh, I think I sent it to you. It was like she's like, I got a scholarship. Yay. And then she did it like they showed like 30 different speeches where she did it. And again, I just was, oh, how could you have ever? I mean, I don't know. She just,
Yeah, these people are all cringe.
mhm.
She's also a fucking millionaire, and she wants to pretend like she's part of the working class or something, and it's like you're not. You know what I mean? Like I'm working class technically.
Mhm.
Um, I actually wear Carhartt to work. Like I am a working class individual
Yeah,
at this point, and it's different than you know a lot of people. You can be middle class and upper middle class or lower middle class, but ultimately we all have more in common with each other than with
yeah,
these fucking rich people, especially people who have enriched themselves off of government and off
mm,
of suckling off the government teeth.
yeah.
So it's like,
Because it's not, it's certainly not all wealthy people. It's this specific breed of, well, government, I suppose, and absolute power
yeah,
cribs. That really,
especially people that have never worked in the private
mhm,
sector. That's the thing, like Ron Paul and Rand Paul. Fuck, even Trump worked in the private sector. He's in real estate and a businessman. Rand Paul and Ron Paul are doctors,
doctor.
and they had their own practice, and like that's private sector. Like I respect people who have worked in the private sector, but people who have worked Nancy
Always
Pelosi
government,
suckling
yeah.
off the government teat her entire fucking life, which by
They've
the way,
never had, yeah.
she has massive mafioso ties, and I know that for a fact because my grandma used to date her brother. My grandma called him Nicky, her brother Nicky, in Baltimore, and they were fucking mafioso. So
Mhm.
there is a tie between mafia and government, and
Ab-
there always was. That's why a
Absolutely.
lot of those RICO charges were bullshit. And by the way, a lot of stuff was run better when the mafia was in charge of it
Yeah.
because at least the mafia fucking protected people.
And there
In
was
New
an honor
York,
amongst thieves
in New
sort of
in New York
mentality.
in New York, all these riots and shit like that, and like random street stabbings and shit. When the mafia ran shit, that was not allowed. If you were paying the mob to look after your business and you got robbed or hit up or whatever, they would go find those people and they would teach them a fucking lesson. In a weird way, it was kind of like a vigilante justice, but they got shit done, and it's like now
Yeah,
now people have nothing. They gave it in charge to the government. It is, it's not run as well. And they don't get the same protection from the government. If anything, the government makes excuses for criminals and criminality, and not the mafia kind of criminality. They make excuses for petty fucking crimes.
mm,
And yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, I think we've talked about it before here, like decriminalization as far as like prostitution and drugs really is the way to get so that you actually can go to the real criminals and make a difference. I'm hoping that kind of leads maybe into this. I'm really hoping that the whole child trafficking thing and Epstein lists and that I hope I hope it's real and it wasn't just something that like an AI bullshit thing, but that Trump acknowledged or we were fighting like an ancient pedophile cult. And early on
Well,
in
I
our
know there's
show,
also been talks about the Epstein list. They want to release it.
yeah, early, do you remember in our first few even episodes of the show when I was really I was diving deep into the cults and the drugs and really going deep into where this did start in hijacking of the sacral chakra energy center in rituals. And when I was in Egypt, I did not want to go into to the pyramids, and I didn't want to go into the king's chamber. I just felt like that's where these rituals, that there were just massive, like, well, when I think of like, for instance, Kanye and his wife, to me, that's dungeon-like behavior. That is absolute,
Well, it's
complete
also it's also a
domination, submission.
humiliation ritual of
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
He's humiliating her on a literal world stage, and he's empowered by it, not her. It's Loosh. He's zapping fucking Loosh from people,
But
and it's like, and
there's something about when we talk about the and the prostitute and the harem.
well, I
Um,
think I think of more of her as a victim. I don't think she's empowered by this. If anything, she's being disempowered and she's having her fucking
Yeah,
energy tapped
and
into.
I think that was how it was with harems and stuff. I mean, you may
Yeah.
think you may be the main girl in the harem, so you have some feeling of power, but you're
The
still
bottom bitch, the bottom
yeah,
bitch.
yeah, that's, that, but that is that between the difference between a sacred prostitute and these are the archetypes that I'm talking about that are
Main
in
hoe.
all of us.
She's the main hoe.
The main hoe. But these are the archetypes that I've said this is what's playing out on the world stage. And when you watch like shows, and I've never watched a Kardashian show. I've seen plenty of
Me
clips that have
neither.
rolled through, but this is the programming that they've put into the public by having this uh, mentality. Okay, today I did see something. There's some new stuff because we're getting close to the Diddy shit, the Diddy trial. It's starting to come up in the feeds again because it was kind of quiet there for a while, and now it's starting to come up in my feed again. And there's new there's new clips of Justin Bieber coming out. There's
Mm.
there's new shit that's coming out. So new shit's dropping about J Lo, and
Hate
her
her.
how many interactions she actually
I
had.
heard that I heard a weird rumor that her and Kevin Costner are talking, and I'm like, Kevin, what are you doing? Run for your life! Don't do it. Look at Ben Affleck. Look at his face. He looks like he's lost like 10 fucking years. Like,
Are you kidding me?
no, it's just a rumor that I heard, but no, not kidding.
I haven't. And the other rumor was Jennifer Aniston and
Oh
Obama.
yeah,
I haven't
we
heard.
talked about that. I don't even like talking about that shit because it just sounds so petty until it's like real. Like I just don't even want to feed into that. But I let House and Habit do that because that's her jam.
Well, but that's part of I suppose the smoke and mirrors to keep people talking about it, to keep, so the Diddy trial should be pretty. I can't imagine it's actually going to happen as soon as they're saying, but that should be interesting, especially if Epstein stuff drops. And I should. I just can't get my hopes up. There's been too many times that I've been.
Yeah, he also paid a lot of the right people for a very long time. So it's possible that a lot of evidence has been lost or mishandled, just like the whole thing that happened with OJ. Like a lot of that evidence was mishandled, which is why it was dismissed in court and they couldn't use it because they checked it in
Oops.
wrong or they forgot, oh, oops, this number didn't match that. No, just like
Yeah,
weird, stupid sleight of hand shit. So it's
yeah.
like I
I
don't want
don't
to
think
get my
he's
hopes
getting
up
out,
either.
but I don't
No,
think
I
he's
don't.
getting out.
I definitely don't think he's going out, but I do think, like Ghislaine, he is going to be a fall guy. I think that he was on top
Yeah,
for a very long time, and the system, they their own, and this is the problem that I think celebrities don't get is they think that they're untouchable because they're on top, or the right people have told them that they're protected, but they will sacrifice their own
hmm
on a heartbeat. You know what I mean? If they have to save their own and protect the secret and the image. And um, I think that he's going to be a fall guy. I don't know how much is actually going to get into the public domain and how
yeah,
many other people are going to go down for this because that's kind of the point of a fall guy is Jay-Z might be complicit. There might be other people that are complicit, but he's the fall guy, so it's all going to land on his shoulders, which
yeah,
I'm glad because there have been rumors about Diddy not only being involved in like Tupac's assassination,
yeah,
but also his buddy Biggie Smalls as well. And then
yeah,
as soon as Notorious B.I.G. fucking died, P Diddy was second in line on the Bad Boys record label, and he was the one that was set to gain profits off of all of fucking Biggie Smalls,
yeah.
all of his songs, all of his. It's just,
Can you
it's
imagine?
very.
Can you imagine? Just put yourself like step back from that and being like, okay, you were involved in killing your best friend, and then you went and did a song about how sad you are. Stole the riff from Sting, who
Well,
he still has
borrowed it.
to,
He
what,
sampled.
yeah, but he still has to
Yeah,
pay him to this day. I saw Sting on a
yeah,
on an interview.
yeah. It's
And
royalties.
yeah, and so he's like, "But yeah, he has to pay me for every time." So, but just to be that kind of person, I suppose I just can't wrap my brain around.
Well, he's a thug. He's a gangster. So it's like
Absolutely,
I kind of
and
can. Like
according
it's
to, some things I've seen, his mom, he was involved in white parties with his mom when he was underage, like, when he's a kid. He was there's rumor, like, it's speculation that
I mean, I don't know.
this
I
started.
don't think they were like rich and well connected before, but
Well, his mom was a working girl. His dad was a
yeah,
he was up in the game. Now, whether or not connected, I don't know,
mm.
but in that level, but he knows the game.
I mean, he
He was
was
up
a
in the
pimp. His
hustle.
name was Pimp Daddy, like P Diddy. Like that's what that stands for,
Yeah.
Like
He's been in the
I
game.
don't think it was well connected until Biggie. Biggie's the one that really fucking shot up in the record label, and he's the one that put P Diddy on the map, So he's the one who he kind of was riding on, Biggie Smalls' coattail, and then when Biggie Smalls died, Diddy was poised to take
Yeah.
over the whole fucking empire, and he
But you
did.
go ahead, sorry.
He empowered himself. He enriched himself, and then he committed horrible crimes, and he thought that he was on top and he was some kingpin and he could
Mhm.
never fall. Well, guess what? Like all the king's horses and all the king's men
Amen.
put Diddy together again. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like so it's
yeah.
like
Well, did you see that, when it was maybe college age, he he put together an event and people died because he didn't honor the code. He let too many people in and he got off on that one. So, yeah, just I don't know.
there's a
It'll
lot of
be
stuff.
interesting to
I
see if J-Lo gets has anything to do with it, and she actually gets her just desserts, because they flat out lied. The girl that got shot in the face has her own channel, her own
I mean,
YouTube channel.
even if she doesn't, I still think nobody gets out unscathed, and I think in the end, these people will all meet their own just
Sure.
ends. You know what I mean? On their own, even if they don't get prosecuted by the law, who knows? Maybe Jayla will end up old, ugly, and alone because she's an absolute horrid bitch, and no man wants to fucking be with her longer than a year. So it's like she will get her own just deserves in the
Yeah.
end, and
Yeah.
I'm not really putting too much hope in the laws of men, but universal laws, perhaps,
Yeah. I think that it just that sickens me, the kids, how many kids, like, and now it's coming out, like, the milk cartons, like, what that was all about. And kids on milk cartons, it's just so disgusting. And kids,
I don't know that one.
oh, that those kids that were missing, and then all the celebrities, like, got milk. And so there's this kind of dot connecting that these kids were actually, being sacrificed.
Mm,
It's a whole nother kind of
mm.
rabbit hole. I haven't gone down it. I think I'm at this point so sickened by it, and
Damn, I just thought that was Big Dairy trying to get people to eat milk or drink milk.
drink milk. Yeah, and
Eat dairy.
I'm sure that on some level it was, but the deeper level, who knows? I guess I just nothing in the world seems all seems like one big fucking, like, mirage, and one big
Scheme.
spell. Hmm.
Yeah, levels and levels and levels.
Yeah. And really, until why is it that we have the biggest consumers of overseas, children, until that's dealt with, and I don't know. It's such a big fucking spider web. And so
Yeah, I
we've got,
mean, well, I don't know if I believe necessarily that. I mean, there's a lot of cultures, and Arab culture, for a
yeah.
very large portion, they are still the main purveyors of sex trafficking. You look at all those grooming gangs in UK, and that shit made me so mad, made me so disgusted. UK isn't even going to be a blip on the map. Thousands of years of cultural dominance, and they're just wiping themselves out. And I kind of giggle. It sucks, I am Scottish and Irish and English and Italian and Norwegian and a little bit of this and that, but it's just like the Brits conquered basically the whole world, including India. A lot of you go back, I saw this little thing. You go back and look at old buildings in India that are dilapidated and falling apart, and they're fucking beautiful. The architecture is beautiful, and it's because when the Brits were colonizing India, this is all old British architecture, and it's never been kept up, so it's all dilapidated, it's all falling down. And it's just like, this is the legacy. Like, you guys are destroying your legacy in Western civilization and Western culture. You're self-deleting because, oh, evil colonizer, whatever. You guys were fucking conquerors. And there is something to be said that winning by conquer is not the same. You know what I mean? Like, you won by conquer because you had stronger tools. It was a battle of wits. You were more well trained. You were more well armed. And I hate to say it, but that is what has categorized the entire world, you know? Like, it wasn't unique to the British Empire. I mean, this shit has been going on since the dawn of time, since civilization. And so it's only bad when white people colonize, but you look at what the Arabs have done to the Middle East, and I'm sorry, but a lot of people don't know this. Arab religion, Islam, is a very fucking young religion. What is it? 500 years old, 600? It's not even as old as Christianity. It's definitely not as old as fucking Judaism. But somehow the entire fucking Middle East is Arab and Islamic, and they have completely fucking dominized and colonized the entire Middle East. Now they're going after Africa. Look at Egypt. It's all fucking Muslim. And these are cultures that have been colonized by the fucking Arabs, but it's only bad when white people do it. Shut the fuck up. I'm so
Yeah.
sick of hearing of the word colonization and how evil it is
Yeah.
when you're only putting white people under a magnifying glass and you're not looking at what the fucking Arabs have done to
Yeah.
colonize the entire Middle East and brainwash them into a fucking religious cult that hates women. It fucking hates
Yeah.
women. And as evil as white people and white colonizers have been, we have more human rights. The only reason why feminism exists is because of Western civilization, ladies. I hate to fucking tell you, but it is strictly Western Christian civilization that was able to enrich feminism and lift all these people to the same fucking level. And there's not another culture on earth that does that. Not in Asian culture, not in Arab culture,
Yeah.
not in India. They have the caste system. Not in South America. So it's just I'm just so sick of hearing how uniquely evil white people are when we aren't, and we're not even as evil as what the fuck is going on in this timeline in other cultures on the same earth
Yeah.
in the same timeline that we are on. I'm
Yeah.
so sick of hearing feminists bitch. Go somewhere else and then fucking
Go
come
over
back
there. Go
here.
see what it's like. I
Literally
absolutely.
go anywhere. Go to fucking Ecuador and go to Colombia and walk, not with a boyfriend, with two girls, and go walk on a side street at nighttime. Go to Ecuador. Go to Africa. Go to the Middle East. Go to India.
And
Please
let's
go to
then
fucking
really talk
Calcutta and
about.
walk around and tell me how uniquely evil fucking white people are and how misogynistic white men are. I would love that. I would fucking love that.
Yeah, go
Please.
hang out because it's a different experience. And when I came back from Egypt, it took me about 3 weeks to kind of just, and it took me over a year to really digest the whole experience. But 3 weeks to come back in to having our system, our infrastructure, and and just be so thankful to be back home. And it was, and statistically, I mean, I don't want to get the country wrong, but it's one of the countries over there with the level of inbreeding, and that
It's
women.
Pakistan, actually. They've done all
Pakistan,
these
okay,
they've done all
yeah,
these tests because it's actually really sad in
but
parts
they're
of
all cousins.
in parts of Europe and parts of UK and parts of France. There are whole ghettos where it's only Muslim people, like Pakistani people, and no one else can go in there. Cops don't even go in there. And they've done like genetic tests, and there's a high amount of inbreeding because they allow like first cousins to sleep with each other or uncles to sleep with their nieces. And it's like, it's not to be mean, it's why they are so close and tight knit. And it's also kind of what keeps it, like, they're kind of low IQ, and that sounds
Yeah,
mean, but it's true. That's what
no,
happens when you
that's
inbreed for
statistics.
but for generations, it's not just like one. When you have had inbreeding for 3, 4 generations, you are just we already know that it causes genetic disabilities, and unfortunately, you know, learning disabilities and mental disabilities are chief
And
among
then to
those that
keep a
it
mind
causes.
control under the structure of, women are, was it Sean
I'm
Ryan?
sorry, but if you're not that smart, you can't think that good. You can't think about rights.
Yeah,
You can't you can't look into ideologies, and you can't see past cognitive dissonance. When, I'm sorry, if you're not that intelligent, you're just, isn't that why the government wants unintelligent people? They want people that are just smart enough to run the machines but not smart enough to question anything. It's the same fucking thing. You know what I mean? So it's
I mean, literally, I mean, it's true. I mean, when you're in Egypt, like, you hear over the loudspeaker the prayers, and the mind control is it's it's incredible. And was it
and
on Sean?
it's indoctrination, it's
Yeah,
mind control.
yeah. And was
It's
it
also
Sean?
fear based. I mean, it's very similar to any,
Yeah,
Christian people who scare their children constantly of threats of hell and stuff like that. The difference is in America, they will have that ideology challenged at some point. Teenagers will, whether it's in school with their peers, you know what I mean? But like when you're in a culture where your your whole mentality, your whole way of life is never even questioned, and the ones who do will be like thrown off a building or stoned in public.
yeah,
It really creates something different. You literally learn to shut the hell up or you will die,
yeah.
so it's like,
It was on Sean Ryan's show, and it's army related, military related, and he had a guest on there that was talking about different missions that they had, and the boys are for pleasure, the women are for breeding, and that's it. They're not, they're it's like out in the woods. They ran into like these compounds where this is how it's just it is just so barbaric. Is that like
it is barbaric.
it
Yeah,
just
it's very primitive and barbaric. And um what was I listening to? It was really great. I even wrote it down. It was somebody talking about how even in pagan culture, actually, like what made Christianity very unique is even children didn't have rights in many of these pagan cultures, Nordic cultures. Kids were very disposable. Actually, they were a burden, and so with Christianity that came the idea of children even having rights, basically, because children were looked at for thousands of years, even in Western culture, as subhuman, as something that wasn't quite human yet,
yeah,
So, um, our moral code and compass has been shaped by this rich history that has constantly been improved upon, and even chivalry, like chivalry was a part of that. Chivalry was men recognizing that they had strength and power over women, which is why they gave courtesy to women, because they recognized that women needed to be protected and men were the protectors of women, so it's like all of these things were bred out of it, and then we've just been improving upon it. We got past the barbaric nature of human beings, because human beings at their core, without these moral compasses and these codes and this rich culture that has shaped us, are fucking barbaric, like at our roots, at our primitive state, so it's
mhm.
it's very interesting to see people vote for the barbaric culture over Western culture, and then highlight their own civilization as something that is uniquely evil, and they won't even so much as and take a magnifying glass to the other cultures that exist in our day and age with that same critical magnifying glass. They will not apply it to anything else but Western civilization.
And the
And
evil lady.
and Western civilization, I'm so fucking thankful to be here, and I will never talk shit about it the way that some of these ridiculous women and
So
leftists do.
grateful. I want to
I'm
send
so
them all
grateful.
over. Go over in the Middle East for a few weeks and go
Fuck the
like
Middle East. Go anywhere. Go to
go.
Africa. Go
Yeah,
to any
it's
town in
true.
Africa.
Yeah,
Not South Africa. Fuck,
yeah,
even South Africa is getting really dangerous. But there are all kinds of videos of two girls that go on a trip to Morocco and they're never heard from ever again, or two
mhm,
girls who go on a little trip in Africa and they're never heard from ever again, or
yeah,
in India and they're gang raped 10 times by fucking lines of 30 men. You know what I mean? Like, it is
yeah.
disgusting. There is no, and sure, you know what, even in America, you're right, in New York City, you better have your wits about you if you're a chick. But I have lived in downtown Las Vegas, which is not the safest of suburbs in Vegas. It is not Summerlin. It is not Green Valley. It is not some little happy. There are a lot of homeless people. There are a lot of vagrants. I have never had to fear for my life walking from the bar to my car down here, or pub hopping with my friends, or
Mhm,
um, you know what I mean? I've never had that experience, and
mhm.
I'm so thankful for that.
You know,
I'm so thankful for that.
the first time I ever felt was when I was in Egypt and being a white woman in a minority, like
And you
and
stick out like a sore thumb, and you're highly sought after, you know?
yeah, you can't hide. I mean, can't hide my. I'm Nordic German. I there's no hiding it
If
there.
y'all don't know, yeah, Kim is a tall lady with very long, like, maiden hair and blonde, you know? You can tell you
Yeah,
were a
and
blonde child, so you have like that golden
when
hair.
I was at the Cairo Museum, there were probably 10 kids, and the women were it was all veiled, like the gloves, like you didn't even see their eyes, right? But the kids don't have to. And there were a group of kids around me that just stopped just to stare at me, and like they'd never seen a white woman before. Maybe this was their first time at the Cairo Museum, and they're out from one of the villages. They hadn't seen, and that was a very interesting experience. But and there were some really beautiful people in Egypt. I don't want to make it seem like all the men were like that, but a majority, the ones that were, um, the
And I'm
ones
sure
that,
kids too, you know, because they have limited life experience. So,
yeah, but the people that worked at the resorts were they liked they wanted to be here and they would secretly tell you they're Christian, but they can't say it on their licenses. I remember we were coming back from, I think it was a temple of Isis, and you know, machine guns are where we were on our bus, they were surrounded by them, right?
yeah, yeah, you have guards.
Yeah, we had guards.
Hmm.
But we were coming back and there was all of a sudden like cars pulled out in front of the bus and blocked us, which is a very like surreal moment because now everybody's got their machine guns. Like now it's not just at their side. Now like they're holding their machine guns. And the little kids on the side of the bus are waving, and then all of a sudden this one little boy goes, "Fuck you." It's like, okay, I guess we know whose parents are not wanting tourism. Like, who's the future little um, uh, terrorists?
Hmm.
Because the out in the villages, they don't want they don't want you there. They they really don't.
Well,
They
they also, you know, they call America like what, the great Satan or whatever. Like, amongst Muslim, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I understand just all of our interference, our
yeah,
constant meddling in the Middle East. You know, like, they fucking hate us, and I don't blame them. You know, it's like all the nation building, all that shit that USAID, and one of us should look it up, because people think it means US aid, and it does not mean that. It's like United States of America. It's like, it does not stand for aid as in like aiding foreign countries. It's a fucking acronym, and it has nothing to do with like foreign aid for like, oh, people in Africa with HIV. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with NGOs, non-government organizations, non-government but funded by the government, right? And it's
that's what.
money
Yeah,
funneling systems, it's triangle schemes, it's
yes,
just ways for them on record to say that, oh, this is where this money is. It's like $5 million for some school in Pakistan, and then like you look at it and it's literally like a mud fucking hut, and you're like, I'm sorry, I know that $5 million would go a lot further out there than here. Like that's not, what
Yeah.
did they kick it down 20,000? What happened to the rest of the money? There's also no breakdown. So
Mhm.
they're saying, "Oh, this money went here." And then after that, there's no saying,
Yeah,
"Oh,
it's
okay,
yeah.
for plumbing, we spent 10 grand on the plumbing and this much for drywall and this much for construction
It's a mud
materials."
hut.
There's no breakdown of materials either. So that's why
Yeah,
they're saying it's just blindly going somewhere. They're saying it's for something on the books. But then when you look into these individual projects, there's no spreadsheets or accounting of
yeah,
where this money went. It's just a fucking
yeah.
black hole.
That's
And
that's
we
what I
know that it's going to government, it's
yeah.
lining someone's pockets.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely money laundering at the it's just gross. And NGOs, that's earlier when I said I was having a thought on something you said. It's the NGOs and really it's sex trafficking and all these it's just so gross. It's so like I just feel like they can't be human. Like
Well, no, because they think that they're better than us. This is part of the elitist mentality. They think that they are above the common man, that they are better than us. That's why I say it's feudalism. It's even worse than like the lords and the ladies. You know what I mean? Like it's worse than that. It's worse than just
yeah,
landowners. Like, but it is that mentality. It is feudalism. It is the haves and the have-nots, and it is the people who think that they are better and more deserving than the common fucking man. And more than anything, they actually despise you. They look down
yeah,
upon you in their ivory towers, looking down their nose at you. It reminds me of that one, like the meme of like the people like they're like looking down. I think it's like from the Twilight movie or whatever, but it's like they're like in Paris in the 1700s and they're like all prim on their balcony, like looking down. Like that's what it reminds me of, like the the aristocracy, but even worse than that, because
yeah, yeah,
these people at some level, I think that there was some sort of commonwealth, and they're like, even peasants worked less than the common man now, so it's like weird. I don't understand why people want it, and worse than that, they get you to vote for it and think that they're gonna help you or something, and it's like they
yeah,
hate you. Why would they help you?
yeah,
Like they fucking
yeah.
hate
They
you.
absolutely hate you. They,
Outside of these
yeah,
games they're
they,
running, they have no potential to make money. They have no private sector industry. This is the way they're enriching themselves off of your tax dollars, and without you, they have no. They're dry. They're dry. You know.
and well, they have no, I guess when we talk about like narcissism, they have no creative ability. They siphon off of yours, and then you know, taxation is theft. So we'll see how that one plays out. We'll see if there's any. I
Yeah,
just would
I wouldn't mind paying taxes if it actually went to help
sure.
the people of my own country. If it did go to the roads, and it did go to school children, and it did go to veterans, and it did go to help homeless people, but it's not going there.
Mm-mm.
You don't know where it's going. It's going to funnel fucking elite pockets, and then they enrich themselves and all of their buddies. Oh yeah, we hired this firm to do this.
Wink,
Hire
wink.
them. They're just funneling money, and that's how they clean the money. Is it goes through so many hands,
Yeah.
and it's just like then
So if we
their gig is up. Like
so
the
if we
jig is
made
up.
everything like a GoFundMe. So it's all local, and then you pick who's going to do your roads, right? And then if they don't, it's all full transparency. So if they don't do it well, they don't get funded the next year. So just make everything a GoFundMe. All the different,
And make it transparent. And they talk
yeah,
shit about Elon Musk all they want. Elon Musk doesn't need our money. He doesn't need our tax dollars. He's fucking the wealthiest person on planet Earth. He doesn't need to line his money like these people. He's not dry. He has other ways of making
that's
money, of
right.
making it is these fucking government leeches, these bureaucratic fucking fat cats that have no other way of making money or accessing money. We are the one that is greasing their pockets and greasing all of their friends' pockets, and all of their firms and all of this, and that's why the money goes through so many fucking hands. They need our money. Elon and Trump doesn't need our fucking money either. He's super wealthy and rich. And in fact, his businesses that he makes his passive income from, they make more money when the middle class is doing good, when we can travel, when we can go stay in resorts. You know what I mean? Like that's when his business does good. If everyone's poor, his businesses fail. So
Mm.
like that's why I voted for Trump, because he's not one of these fucking bureaucratic leeches. He's not. He's worked in the private sector, and I don't care how many times he filed for bankruptcy. My father's filed for bankruptcy. That doesn't mean he's a fucking loser, and that doesn't mean he failed. You know what I mean? So these
Yeah.
people are just so stupid and psychotic. They don't even know what bankruptcy is. They don't even know what the fuck it means. Like they're just I
And when
can't.
you're at that level of business, it's a whole different. It's just
You're basically just
different.
absolving your business but you know what? You tried. You started a business. You ran it. If it
Mhm.
failed, whatever. Since
Mhm.
when is failing in one aspect of business mean that you're some shitty fucking horrible? But it doesn't mean that.
Mhm.
Like it's just so weird. But
I'd
I'm
say that
over
there's
it.
a lot. I mean, his kids are all. He's not he's
His kids
certainly
have a
not.
great image. They all are classy. I think Don Jr. is the kind of party one, but like Ivanka, all of his kids
Mhm.
have a pretty cool, classy sheen. Look at Barron; he looks like a very well spoken and elegant young man. And then you just look at like Biden's kids, and they're just all fucking degenerates, and they're all sleazy scumbags. And it's like,
Kamala
oh,
Harris's stepdaughter. Boy,
I mean,
she's.
she's too young to even. She's a little what do they call it? She's a nepo baby. She's a
Mhm.
nepo baby, and so are Trump's kids, but at least Trump's kids are classy and they all have their own businesses. They do. They all have their own
And
way of
they had to
making
work on
money.
construction sites. Like they actually, it says something about about him. And you know, I guess love him or hate him, he's what we've got. So you better, take your wins and do your best not to have a
And the whole
visceral
like yeah,
reaction.
even when Biden was president, which I always thought was absolutely cuckoo insane because the man even back in 26 or 2020 whatever he was clearly fucking dementia addled. His fucking brain was rattled already, right? So it's
Mhm.
like and then it became very obvious very quickly that he was not in charge. He was not in charge of the machine. He could not keep his eyes open. He was barely doing the fucking job required of him. He was just a puppet. He was an empty shell. But that's what the Democrats want. They don't want an independent thinker. They don't want someone that can
Well,
go
yeah,
against the machine. They want their little puppet. And
really,
I will
yeah.
never get that. I will always want somebody who can at least regardless if I like the captain of the ship, I'm on the ship too. So I want the dude who is the most
Yeah,
trained and adept
qualified
for
to
the
run
job.
chips. Yeah,
Yes, right? So like why do
yeah.
I want some decrepit dementia mentally ill fucking captain who's going to run us into the fucking rocks? I don't want that. I'm on the ship. I don't want the mentally ill cuckoo psychotic dude who's shitting his pants at the helm. I don't want that. And I don't care
No,
if Trump is mean. If he's mean but he fucking knows what he's doing, that's the dude I'm voting for.
yeah,
Not the lady who has to cackle and literally every single interview she did was
yeah.
edited. There was not one live interview of her except for those debates.
Did you
Everything else
watch
was
the
sound
release?
bites.
Did you watch the release of the unedited part from that
Oh
60
yeah,
minutes?
that was so cringy and
It,
secondhand
it was
embarrassment that I
sometimes I
can't
couldn't.
even
It was difficult. It was just
it
made me.
actually made me feel sick. It made me feel
Yeah,
sick that this lady could have been in charge of America and she can't
yeah.
even say a single fucking thought. My thought process is more free flowing, honest, and straightforward than hers is. And that's scary because I have absolutely no fucking experience in public speaking and politics. And the fact that I can form well thought out arguments better than her is terrifying to me. That is fucking scary because I am not qualified to be the president. I would never. That is absolutely laughable and insane. But the fact that I can get a thought out of my mouth without the fucking word salad, the cackling, and
Mhm,
the tiptoeing, and
mhm.
that is horrific to me. That is absolutely horrific because this is the leader of the free world we're
Yeah,
talking about,
definitely dodged
and
a bullet there.
we almost had a literal dumb puppeteer who could not speak to Putin, who could not speak to Xi Jinping, who could not speak to a single world leader face to face without a fucking soundbite or notes or whatever, or
The
something being
earpiece.
an
Mhm.
earpiece. Like, that is scary. That is
Yeah,
scary. I want someone who can go off the cuff.
and Trump can certainly do that, and he can do it 24/7. He's just,
He could run
he's
circles around her.
mhm.
And he did run circles around Joe Biden. There was that one day when he went to didn't he go to North Carolina and LA, like in the same, oh, and Vegas, all within the same 24 hours. He went to those three spots in
And
one
he was in
day.
the casino. He was, yeah. Yeah, he's
He went to a
def
casino downtown. I can see that casino like from my front yard, actually.
can you?
Hmm.
Yeah, that was, and he handled what was 80% of the claims, or some sort of amount of money into North Carolina, and the percentage 80% of something that he was doing were like solved within 5 days, and the money was flowing. Like that right there is sickening that they were insulted with $700 and
The
just
one thing
left.
about North Carolina, like luckily for them though, is they didn't have all that same red tape that like Maui and LA did. All the red tape of, oh, you need all these permits and all these stamps and all these needs to go through all these processing, and if it doesn't get, oh, you skipped a step, you have to go back and do this before you. At least North Carolina, the Appalachians, they don't have all that weird shit that's hindering their cleanup projects and their rebuilding projects. But I mean, and apparently Gavin
Didn't
Newsom is
Trump
saying
say
that,
in his meeting in LA that he was like, yeah, we're like bypassing all? I
and
wonder if it's happening.
Gavin Newsom came out and said it, but they've already had these plans for these 5 minute cities. And when he says green light and cleanup, sure, they might be cleaning up and green lighting, but they're not going to allow people to rebuild. There was a soundbite I heard where he was like, in Altadena, a lot of which was historically black neighborhood and like outside of LA, in Altadena, a lot of these houses were built in the 30s and 40s, and it's just not feasible. We can't rebuild in the same way. They don't want single family homes. Once again, people, they don't want you. You will own nothing and you will be happy. You will live in a pod and you will eat the bugs or fucking whatever Alex Jones says. They want the high rise cities. They don't want you to own the land. They don't want you to own property. They don't want you to have water rights. They want you living in a big ass apartment building with 500 other fucking people stacked above you, and you will own nothing. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they want. That's what they're green lighting. Oh, they're going to green light it for those types of housing projects, not for single family homes.
Yeah,
So,
I have seen that and that people, selling, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how LA plays out. We're in for some big changes,
and
definitely here, Snake.
the Olympics is coming to LA. So I think
How are they even gonna have it?
2028. I don't know.
I can't for 3 years. I can't see that out anyway. Who knows?
Yeah, good
But
luck.
it is the year of the snake. It is the astrology definitely, and has, it's here. I mean, things that I think for me, it's like back to when the Mayan calendar 2012, and it felt kind of like nothing happened, but it was like that was the earthquake, here's the tsunami, and we are the ones that we've been waiting for. And it will, how you, a big part of how you will fare in this energy is how well you're willing to stand in your authentic truth, and how well you are energetically aligned with what I would call your true north and your divine plan for you. And it, it's going to be very interesting for me to observe how my friends who are self-reflective, introspective, self-sustaining, sovereign, they know these words. They've implemented these philosophies in their life to the best of their ability in the world that everything that's coming at us, but they still stand in their sovereign true north um, mission here. And it will be interesting to see how they fare as opposed to people that would have no idea what that even means, that what I just said. And I think that we will have, astrology wise, it says 2035 is when things finally level out and we have an idea of things and
Well,
how they'll look.
I do think it's going to be a rough 10 years, you know.
Yeah,
We have 4 years of Trump. Who knows what's going to happen after
yeah.
that? I do think, you know, I don't know, there's been weird shit with transportation and airplanes. I was speaking with my best friend
Another one
who works
crashed
for an
today in
airline.
Scottsdale, and it's the guy from Van Halen, or who the fuck? It's some famous. It's his jet. It's some.
To be fair though, those little what do they call them? Like those dual engine jets, those little, I mean, those have traditionally always been the ones
Yeah,
that crash the most. That's
yeah.
where all the celebrities
But
die on those, you know,
it was at least one dead
a
after.
rock star.
It was they were jets or two planes colliding. I did part of a jet. Okay, who knows
Yeah,
what's
but yeah, they weren't commercial jets, you know,
but
they were
it's
private jets.
yeah, and it's on the honor, but it's Motley Crue, Vince Neil.
Oh, Vince Neil, really?
Mm-hmm. Oh, he was not on board, but it belonged to him. You can
Okay.
see, you can. Oh no, you can't. Oh
No.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
there you can see the type of plane
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, I was talking to my friend who works for an airline, and he was saying that actually, for whatever reason, this shit happens all the time. Not with the commercial jets, but with
Yeah,
those little private jets. And, you know, they're being like very public about it right now. Like he said that it happens all the time, and for whatever reason, they're just like
yeah,
exposing it more in the media. Um,
yeah. Well, I mean, interestingly enough, the astrology, because Sagittarius is travel, and
mhm.
it was about 2 years ago that one of the astrologers that I listened to was saying, "You watch, travel's going to be affected," and it was right. And it was maybe it was around COVID, so it started then when travel started getting kind of wonky and weird, and that it would just increase that, and
Right.
that's always interesting to me when I hear astrological kind of happenings and how you can see it play out down here. That it is, and the historical like moments in time, like you were talking about the revolution and Revolutionary War, and now we're here, and even some of Nostradamus's predictions, and he used this North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo, and right now we have a Neptune conjunction in Pisces. That these are things we'll never see again. They're things that haven't
Yeah.
happened in like 3,000 years, and then you see what a big alchemical shift we're going through. I do find that. I mean, that's why I use astrology as a tool.
Yeah.
I I see the patterns in my own life, and they've prepared me in ways that I wouldn't have been as well. I just wouldn't be. I wouldn't be
I'm
the.
a big believer in like astrotheology and
Mm-hmm.
Jungian psychology and as
Yeah.
above, so below, and the microcosm and the
As within, so
macrocosm.
without. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like you think that, you know, the moon has an effect on the tides and um
Women cycle 28 days. Well,
women's cycle, but like you think that these large heavenly bodies don't have any effect at any point. Like I don't know, it does make sense to me that it is in our universe, not just in our universe, it's in our solar system. We all circle the same star. You know what I
so
mean?
we
Like
have a birth chart. There's a pattern in the sky when you're born, and those patterns and those rotations,
the
and
planets
that
are talking to each other.
yeah,
There's
they
personal
are the
relationships between
archetypes.
there's conjunctions and squares and sextiles. You know what I mean?
It's
There's
math.
trines. So yeah, and it's like these planets are all interacting with each other. They're speaking with each other. Archetypally, these planets all stand for something. Archetypes,
Absolutely.
earth, air, fire, water. You know, they stand for everything under the sun. You know, everything under the moon and the sun.
And
So it's
we are made up of the heavens and the stars, and
And I
so
think that maybe we should end it at that because we're almost at 2 hours.
yeah,
We should
there's just
end it on astrology talk.
Yeah.
Full
Yeah.
moon.
Yes. Full
Let's
moon.
go. Let's do this.
And we're
In
both,
Leo, the full moon in Leo.
we're
Yeah,
both Leos with Sag risings. So
we are.
we're gonna I'm actually loving the energetics right now. I'm I'm in my
Well,
element.
I'm just working with it. I'm living. I'm on the grind right now. I'm falling into a new routine. It feels good. I feel
You're the
healthy and
snake.
vital. I feel like I don't know. I think the abs will be back for the summer with the farm work. I've been a little sedentary. Physical job is good for me.
It's the year of the snake. It's huge change, and every month will be a shedding of the skin, the Ouroboros, and yeah, it's I'm excited for it.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the show. I've got plenty of popcorn. I'm observing, not absorbing, and yeah, it's a very great time to be alive.
It
Well,
is a very interesting time to be alive. We are in a very historical period,
yeah,
and
yeah,
everyone says that, we're kind of in this transformative period, very similar to revolutionary times. That was very
yeah.
historical. And I feel like this is now, there are times when nothing happens, and then there are times when everything happens. And we're kind of in that time right now. And
We
fuck,
are
let's just
every
embrace
day
it.
is like a
Let's,
year.
yeah.
There's
Yeah, it
so
is.
there's so much that
January lasted forever. I don't know why, but I felt like that shit just went on. Oh my gosh.
and every day is just
Every day
this.
I'd wake up on like January 24th. I'm like, okay, then I'm like, what? Finally, it was January 31st. I was like, for sure, January is over. I look and it's like January 31st. I'm like, no. I was like, one more day. I really thought it was February 1st. I was like, nope, not yet. Like,
Not
geez.
yet. Not yet. And
Um,
before you know it, we will be in spring, and I'm excited for that. So,
but we
well,
will
you
see
have,
what happens this week. Shoot. You never
yeah,
know. Maybe something crazy will happen.
yeah, yeah. Well, you have a wonderful week in Volti. I love you, sweet boy.
I don't know where he is. He's somewhere. Voldy.
Hi, sweet boy.
Jumped
All right.
in.
Well, you have a wonderful, wonderful
Love you,
week,
Kim.
and
Thanks,
I love
guys,
you
for
too.
tuning in. And
Yeah.
we'll talk to you
We
next
had
week.
one person I had to ban in chat. I didn't
Oh,
say
what'd they
anything while you
say?
were live. Oh, just crude. Just
What'd they say?
well, one said I have an obsession with white chicks' feet. Is that weird? And then he said, I bet I would be a pussy eating champion, and I just banned him. I don't
Well,
care.
I work on a farm, so you can go ahead and imagine how my feet look, and they are not cute or dainty. So,
Well, he was the one that said he
um,
worked at a barn and wore Carhartts, and so I thought maybe we had somebody that could handle this. It's just disappointing. I don't know. I just banned him. I didn't even say anything. So,
man, get your shit together. Like, learn how
right?
to interact with women. We need to start one of these shows or something for just like these dudes who don't know how to interact and they're incels. Like, I would love to help an incel just be fucking normal. Just be normal. Just be
Maybe we should have a
normal.
segment like,
If you're an incel, sign up and we'll have a
right?
show.
It just repulsed me, so I didn't say anything. I didn't even acknowledge it. I just banned
Good
him.
for
But it just,
you.
you
What a
know,
jerk.
Pete
Well, other
Pablo,
than that,
1999. Fuck you, you
loser. Loser.
loser.
Does that mean you were born in 1999? You fucking incel.
Gross. Just gross.
Yeah, I'll show you my bunion. I'm just kidding. I actually don't have bunions, but if I did, I will gross y'all out. Pablo, 1999.
Right? I
Call
got
me.
country toes. I don't have
Pay, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I
Pay me for my bunion surgery.
right? I got country toes. They haven't had toenail polish on them. I wear cowboy boots every day. Or my
Shit,
boots. So, but
shit.
yeah,
We ain't no city girls around here.
right? We keep it country.
But I love you, Kim.
I love you too. You have a
Have a
great
good
week.
night. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.